Hey, howdy ho, all you beautiful ass motherfuckers. And man, that was really aggressive. But welcome back to the $2 Film Club. And hope you guys had a beautiful and safe Halloween. Beautiful Halloween? I have no clue what that fucking means. But I hope you had a beautiful Halloween. And to cap off the amazing Halloween season, we figured we'd look at the crowning achievements in horror cinema. And that being Halloween and Halloween 2. But
From
let me stop there.
2007
Yeah,
2009.
before I stop you, Rob Zombies. The most controversial. I would argue these are the most controversial out of any of these, like Halloween films to ever come out. Like, as much as I hate the last two Halloween films, I despise Halloween 2 with every inch of my soul. But then I feel like the community is kind of opposite. Everyone hates the first one, but then appreciates the second one because of how much more original it is, which I argue is honestly the worst part. But that's neither here nor there. Before we get into all the nitty gritty of this series, Leo, I know your opinions have changed a lot since we originally watched the first Halloween film from the 70s. Uh, and I know they changed a lot because you watched these films. First, explain your thoughts and opinions on at least the very first Halloween, 2007's Rob Zombies, and then explain how like that kind of altered your opinions on the original film itself.
I mean, I feel like my letterbox review just kind of sums it up very poignantly. I just said, "You never truly appreciate something until someone else ruins it," and that was kind of how I felt the entire time I was watching the 2007 remake. Like, I wasn't the original. When did it come out? Like 1971 or something.
No, 78.
That's when Halloween came out.
Yeah, late 70s, 78.
Damn. Anyways, yeah, I obviously I wasn't the biggest fan of that movie. It was the first time I'd seen it, and I had a lot of high expectations going into it. And then I kind of just felt a little bored while I was watching it, and I didn't feel like it was particularly that scary, like the way that Michael Myers went about doing things. And there are some things that I complained about in that video that this movie tries to answer, and boy, were those answers
You
not
know
good
what I
enough.
wanted. They were kind of far. They were far from what I think most people were looking for.
um, yeah, I don't know. This movie is just so awful, and it only gets worse by the fact that the second one is even more.
Tenfold, tenfold.
Like I would say that I was still pretty bored watching the first one, but I think most of that is just because half of it is the same story, and you kind of already know that Michael Myers is going to kill everyone in the opening, or the opening. It's like fucking 50 minutes long, but whatever. And so I kind of just spent the whole time being like, can we get to the point maybe? And then the second one is just I don't even know how to describe how frustrated I was watching that movie. Like I felt like when I watched the first one, I was able to hold off on some of my comments to you while I was watching it, and it was pretty late too. But like as soon as we got into the second one, I just was texting you the entire time, making fun of this movie because it's just so bad.
Yeah, no, and you could tell that I think in both of these films that the production process might not have been the easiest. I think when Rob Zombie first signed on, when Malik Akkad was looking to put some juice into the franchise and remake it, because this is 2007. Yeah, I almost said 2006, but 2007. I think we keep coming back to the same theme of early 2000 remakes of these iconic 70s, 80s slashers. And it seems like Malik Akkad, the original franchise producer, um, really wanted to cash in on that. And I'm kind of caught in the middle because I don't know if you've seen any of Rob Zombie's other like work. I'm not even talking about just films because he originally started I forgot the name of the band,
It's
but
isn't
a
it
heavy
called White
metal.
Horse or something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was called White Horse. Hence why. Yeah, we'll get to the White Horse stuff later. But yeah, he started in a White Horse band.
Oh no, sorry,
Or
sorry. It's called White Zombie. I was
White
close though.
Zombie. Yeah, no, that's true. And so I respect him as an artist. I just don't think
A musical
I
artist or
no, just in general,
oh, okay,
because
okay.
I appreciate what he tries to do with the first one in the fact that this is where I'm kind of caught in between what people say in terms of why they dislike this one, the first one, Halloween, and why they dislike it. Um, so for anyone who doesn't know, when they were conceiving Halloween and Halloween 2, there was always supposed to be a planned duology between the two. Um, the plan changed, however, when I think the studio and Malik Akkad didn't like that Rob Zombie wanted to dedicate an entire film to a child Mike
Backstory.
Myers. Yeah, essentially, and then have the second sequel film be the remake that Malika Akkad wanted. So they
Mm.
were both kind of getting half of a whole pie, which I think would have been worse than what we did get, even though it might not sound like that once we get to the sequel. But I like how they try to make it make sense. I'm not the biggest fan of making him this super evil identity that the sequels make him into be. Like I
He's
like how they made
pure evil.
I yeah, like it just gets so silly by Halloween Ends. Like it's almost a joke, and like that's my main problem with those films is they lean too much into this evilish presence, which I think was the right enough in that original film, but the issue is they dedicate half of the film to it, and there's not enough of that story or anything really interesting enough to keep it going that long. So to know that he wanted to make a whole film around that makes me really like shake my head, because if anyone doesn't know, the woman who plays Mike Myers' mother is his wife, Zombie's wife, Sherry Moon Zombie, who always finds a way to play some sort of a lead in his films. And I'm not saying that for this film in particular, it is for the next film, but it just feels like a lot of the backstory doesn't amount to very much by the time you get to the remake stuff, because the remake is so dedicated to being a remake that it almost kind of just throws everything you'd watch for the last 50 minutes out the door.
Yeah, I will say that the majority of this movie feels like a tale of two movies. Like you can clearly tell that the story that Zombie wanted to tell was, that I wrote it down. It's like it takes 50 minutes until Laurie is introduced, our main protagonist for this movie. And I feel like because it takes so long, I don't even feel right calling her that, but given that it is a remake and she's supposed to be she's not really a final girl in this, but whatever. Um I don't know. It feels like the first half of this movie is about something completely different, and then once you get to the 50-minute mark, a different movie takes over, and it's very jarring because you don't really get any payoff to anything that happened in the first 50 minutes, and then all of a sudden you're getting payoff to in the last 50 minutes to stuff that was never really set up. Like the remake aspect of this movie is so like fast paced because they wasted 50 minutes on this other like fucking fan film that Rob Zombie wrote and directed. It's just so weird.
Yeah, it's kind of jarring because the part that kind of confuses me less about the structuring of the story is I really like the actors in this film in particular. I don't know if you felt the same way. Um,
I
be,
mean,
because I think a lot of the actors in this make up for those structural things, because for what it's worth, we'll get to Malcolm McDowell at the end of this list, but like I think Sherry Moon Zombie is genuinely good in this movie. I think
In this
Scout.
one.
Yeah, we're only talking about the first one right now, Leo. Don't you worry. I am gonna put belt to ass on that second film. Don't you worry. But I think it's hard to come in and do the same thing as oh my god, why am I blanking on her name from the original?
The
That plays
actress name?
Lori. That
Jamie Lee
plays Lori.
Curtis?
Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah. I think it's impossible to replicate what Jamie Lee Curtis does in that film. And I think Scout Taylor Compton does a good job at making the Lori character her own and kind of makes it like when I watched the Lori in this film, like I don't know if like it made you feel this way, but very early 2000s teenager vibes in a way that I think really nails it on the head that fits this time period. And so I think a lot of stuff like that, like the relationship with her friends, who Danielle Harris is Annie Brackett, and Brad Dourif, who's Sheriff Brackett. Like, do you know who Brad Dourif is?
Bruh, come on.
Okay, I was about to say, bro. I was about to say.
Bro, The
So,
Lord of the Rings are my favorite movies. Of course I know who
wh-
Brad Dourif
which is
is.
ironic because I didn't know he was in Lord of the Rings until I saw it because I knew him from the Chucky films.
Oh, that's interesting, yeah.
Because I grew up watching the Chucky films over the Lord of the Rings films because I'm a psychotic fuck, I guess. But also another fun fact about Danielle Harris, who plays his daughter in this film. Uh, what was the character's name in Halloween 4 and 5? I don't think it was
I don't know. I've
Annie.
never seen
No,
any of
no,
them.
I'm asking myself because I'm trying to look real
You're
quick.
you're trying to you're because that it's the thing you told me about that actress, right? That she was in one of the other ones.
Yeah, for some reason, like
She was in 4 and 5 as Jamie Lloyd.
Jamie Lloyd, that's it. So to give you some context, Jamie Lloyd, when the Akkads decided to go away from Halloween being like an anthology series and going back to the Michael Myers story,
Hmm.
they wanted to get away from Laurie because Jamie Lee didn't want to return, I think. And so
Respect.
and so Danielle Harris plays 9 year old his 9 year old cousin
I think I've heard of
in
this.
4 and 5. And so no, you're gonna laugh at this because not to jump to the second film, but the ending of the fourth film, or well, not to jump to the second Halloween Rob Zombie Halloween film, but in Halloween 4, The Revenge of Michael Myers, the ending has Jamie dressing up in the same exact clown outfit that she dresses up in when she goes up behind Daniela Harris's character in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 to slit her throat in like that dream.
Oh,
So so I thought that was like a really weird parallel to like kind of call back to because when they were making Halloween 4, they were trying to make Jamie Lloyd into like the next Michael Myers. Like this
oh,
is when they started doing like the voodoo stuff and transferring the
yeah.
souls. Like that's when this storyline started to come in. And so the next one, she's just in a mental hospital. Shocker. Who would have thought? And Michael comes in and snatches her. Shocker. Who would have thought? Um, but I just think it's really. I just always find it awkward watching Danielle Harris in these first two, butt naked after being slaughtered by Michael Myers, which also just really weird that even if the women don't die in these two films naked, they find them naked. So I don't know. I've watched these films multiple times and I never know how to take that. I never know if it's like an error with like the departments or if they're like trying to suggest something way worse. And I really don't
I
want to
don't
lean
think
the
it's an
latter half.
error. I
That's
don't
what
think it's an error. I mean, well,
it
the only
could be, but like there's a lot going on making these films that I could believe it.
listen.
I'm listening.
I wasn't gonna talk about this yet, but I guess since you brought it up,
Oh no.
I do have a problem with the way
Oh.
these movies in particular treats the violence against women because it's
Well,
so unsubtle for no reason in just the fact that if there is a woman that dies on screen in this movie, guarantee she's going to be fucking naked. And I don't understand the reason behind that decision because it's not like that in the first one. I mean, obviously it was 1978 and whatever, but like there, and I did take issue in that movie with like the sexualization of the teenage characters as well. But this one, like I was texting you when I was watching it, I was like, this is the movie, or this is the kind of movie that critics of horror films back in the day thought those movies were, when they really weren't. Like this is the exact kind of movie that a lot of those films were criticized. Like this movie does a lot of those criticisms, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Just this is where I get really conflicted because your complaint is straight a Rob Zombie thing.
Well, see,
His
that's
film
what I'm.
That's the thing. It's like it's not Halloween.
Yeah,
That's how all of his films are, and it's not always women.
in
Like
these
in
movies, it's women.
yeah, that's the thing. Is like
That's the
I
problem that I have with it, is that it's
yeah
only with the women, and it really does come across as Rob Zombie just wanted an excuse to show their tits, and so that's what we get. He shows their tits, and it also doesn't help that he directs just the most flaccid fucking sex scenes right before they die that I've ever seen in a movie. Like I can't explain to you how far my fucking dick retreated into my scrotum while I was watching those. And
did you
it's
shrivel it
also
all up?
annoying that it happens with all of them. Like every character right before they die, specifically the female ones, are having sex like right before it. And it's the same thing with like what that I complained, where like every time Michael Myers like popped out of a bush, it started getting silly to me. It's the same thing with this, with the sex scenes. Like it just started getting really, really silly.
Yeah, and that's also his style. His style is so silly and outrageous that it's disgusting, and that's why
That's
I
not
find
even what I mean. Like I don't feel
no,
like
I
it's intentional.
no, dude, trust me. You got to watch. One day I'll get you to watch
The
House of a
Devil's Reject.
Thousand.
Oh,
No, a House of a Thousand Corpses,
mm.
because I think like that's probably out of all of his films the closest one I would probably compare in terms of the world being cruel to the characters, even though the characters aren't inherently cruel themselves. Like the like you can follow Lori and they're just these basic teenagers trying to have sex, but everything that goes on, like going to your point, and all this violence against women is so overdone in the film for like no reason.
Yeah, I
It's weird, and that's why like I'm conflicted about this film, or like this one in particular, and not the second one, because I think the second one just does it so much more egregiously, and we'll
yeah.
get to that soon. Because I don't think like going back to what you were saying before, I don't think it's with intention. All of the dirtiness of how like you're talking about the sex scenes being filmed and like how you feel with them being filmed. Um, I've watched like some YouTube behind the scenes. Like they have like I can't remember if it's on YouTube or Shutter, but there's like a 2.5 hour documentary of the making of the first and second, or just the first. And the making of the first one, all of the actors and all the crews seemed to like Rob Zombie and had solid things to say about him.
Mm.
He like he never made anyone like, I'm not saying like making any gestures toward people, but like his scenes didn't make anyone uncomfortable while filming.
Yeah.
So that's why
I mean,
I
yeah. I
agree with
mean,
what you're saying, but also like that's why it's just really conflicting to me, because like I get that point, but at the same time I
he's
don't
depicting
and
them in an uncomfortable way.
yeah, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because the world is like, I'm not saying the world is always like this down and gritty, but I don't think there's many filmmakers that portray the world in such a way that he does, that I think that's why I'm inherently so interested in the way that he like goes about like not even creating his own characters and visions, but like creating a staple in horror as a franchise.
Mm.
That's that
Yeah, I
also
don't.
like that's not me like trying to defend him
No,
too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Like
listen. I'm glad that, you know, generally speaking, the cast had good things to say about Zombie and working with him. That's always great to hear, because it's never fun realizing when you're watching something that, behind the scenes the dude
yeah,
was actually an asshole. Especially when you realize that the Weinsteins were heavily involved in this movie.
yep.
Um, but that being said, it's not enough for me to get on this. It's not enough for me to look away from the way that the female characters are portrayed in this movie. And also going back to what you were saying about like the way that the teenage characters act in this movie, I can't 100% attest to the authenticity,
Oh
because
my god, dude, my
I was
babysitter
not.
back in the day was exactly Lori. I shit you not, bro.
Okay,
It,
well, there's
like
that.
it's
I
crazy.
I don't have any experience with 2000s teenagers, but I will say that I found myself not getting behind a lot of the characters because they all were too similar to each other.
See, to me, that's what I think felt very 2000s is the early 2000s felt like a lot of things were similar. And I'm not saying that as like a bad thing, but like I don't inherently think it's a bad thing at the same time. Like I don't know if that makes sense at all.
I think it is for me because we waste so much time not spending any time with a lot of the key characters from the original, that when, Laurie's with her friends for like a couple of scenes and they're all saying the same fucking, shit to each other, it makes it feel like they're not individual people. And I quickly stopped caring when the characters were dying because I felt that way, which is something that I didn't really feel in the first one, in the 1978 original. Like, all of those characters felt like their own different people. And so when they died, I did kind of feel like, oh, that's kind of fucked up. And in this movie, I didn't care.
See that I didn't care in the original. So for me, like that's not too big of a deal because they were already kind of nothing characters almost in that original. That I feel like not saying they got a whole fucking backstory, but I appreciate at least like Rob Zombie trying to flesh out like a friendship with Annie in this. You know, it's only ever like slightly hinted towards, and even when Michael comes after Laurie in the original, she's not really involved. I forgot. She just dies in the original, right?
Annie?
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't he like strangle her to death or something?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he just strangles her. Um, and so it felt like I appreciate like that part. It felt like he was trying to dig something in, but going to your point that he wastes so much time with the backstory that essentially, not to get ahead of ourselves, but like that's my problem with the second one is the backstory becomes even less relevant in the second one than it already is in the first film, and it takes up half the first film. And so that's where I'm like, I like what the first half is trying to tell and is showing us. Like, I enjoy what it is. I just think there's too much of it. If it was cut down to 20 minutes and told its story in a way more complex time, I think it would have done the movie a lot of justice, and I think a lot of the characters justice. And I think it might have made the movie flow a little bit better
Yeah.
because I'll tell you this. I don't think I'll ever not find the 15-year time jump 50 minutes into the movie not fucking hilarious because the shot they use is just Tyler Mane, this hulking fucking WWE wrestler. I'm pretty sure it was. A wrestler, UFC fighter, one of the two, just stands up and he's this fucking beast of a human standing over everybody. And I'm just like, dude, Michael, what did they give you while you were in here, bro? Did they just start fucking roiding up your fucking soup with bread or something? Like, brother, holy shit. Because that's the one thing I really do appreciate with this film is it's kind of like, my appreciation towards the Friday the 13th reboot and the Texas Chainsaw reboot is the main killer, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. They're these big, hulking, tanking figures. Like, this guy intimidates you, and that's why I kind of like the more grounded version of this. And he's just a big person that can't be taken out very easily, as opposed to an evil figure that's just like kind of indisposable and just walking around. Because by the time you get to the ending of this movie, it's as definitive as I think it could be. And I think that's why the sequel also sucks, Heavy Cock, because I'm pretty sure when
You
they
know that was
finish.
reshot, right? That ending.
No, yeah, because when they finish this, or like I'm talking about like when they fully finished it after the reshoots, they had just only expected to make this. I don't think they were expecting to come back because they were still having the disputes between splitting the two films up between their two stories. And then they came to the agreement that he could have full reins with this next one, which is ironic because then the studio still interfered on the second one. But we'll get to there when we get there. But I really
I
like
mean,
Tyler Mane in this film as Michael
mm,
Myers.
um, fuck, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, I know. I
So
just kind of spurted a
my
lot.
my thing
Sorry.
with like talking about the production side of this is that I keep hearing conflicting things about like the timeline of stuff. Like I'm seeing the stuff that you're talking about in terms of like, they originally the first one was supposed to be just the backstory, and then the second one would be um the remake of the original. But and then I'm also seeing like, there's that famous interview that Rob Zombie gave where he talks about like the stupid shit that Bob and Harvey Weinstein were fighting over with each other and him, where he's the way he talks about it, like, and he's not being vague about it either. Like
No, he's full front about it
he
too.
specifically says that he was contract he was how do I say that he
Contractually.
was contractually obligated to make 3 movies, and after the first one he really didn't want to because of the dumb shit that he had to deal with the producers, specifically Bob and Harvey Weinstein. um and then the only reason he agreed to come back to do the second one was he asked them to not make him do the third one. But then everything else is saying that he didn't want to come back, and then after a while he decided like, oh, you know what, never mind, I'll come back and do the second one. Like it doesn't reference any of that stuff. And it also doesn't help that I've seen other interviews with John Carpenter where he calls Rob Zombie
Oh my
liar.
god, dude! I forgot. Dude, I forgot how much of a beef him and John Carpenter have because
Yeah,
of the first Halloween film. Like they straight up hate each other, bro.
pretty much, yeah.
Bro, literally, John Carpenter. There was an interview within the last few years where someone asked him about this film and like him and Zombie, and he literally wouldn't even say his name and just like stopped even talking. Like he said next,
Yeah,
and
I've
I'm
seen
like,
that one. He says next question.
yeah, and I'm just like, damn, bro, it must
But
have been fucking
there's a
bad.
different like panel interview where somebody asks him again about it, and he says that he doesn't like to, disparage other directors except for Rob Zombie.
Yeah,
And
I
then there's
forgot about
another
that one.
one where he goes further, and this is the one that I saw where he says, um, because originally, according to the story, Carpenter met with Zombie, and he told Zombie essentially like, do your make your own movie, like don't worry about my movie, because my movie is my movie and yours should just be your own thing. And then Zombie later came out and said that Carpenter was like extremely cold to him. And so that's my understanding, is that's where the beef started. It doesn't even have anything to do with like the quality of the movie. It's just that John Carpenter is just like, yeah, that's he's a liar. I wasn't cold to him. I wanted, him to just do his own thing. And then he started saying this shit about me. It's really weird. But anyways,
It's childlike.
it is
I
very
think that
childish.
I think it kind of just like goes to explain just the production of this section of Halloween films as a
Yeah,
whole. Just kind of a bunch of childish back and forth of just a bunch of higher ups like
the
being too
Weinsteins.
yeah, the wine scenes being the wine scenes pretty much essentially.
Yeah. I listen, I understand wanting to do your own thing, but this was not it. This one isn't nearly as bad as the second one, but it's still not very good. Like, I still found myself not connecting with the characters, not really enjoying the violence because of it, because I just didn't really care about what was going on. And it's made worse that this movie, for some reason, this movie keeps the twist that Laurie is Michael's long lost sister,
uh,
which is something that's not even in the original Halloween movie. I know that's something from the second
well,
one, which
bro,
I've never
the
seen.
sequel to this one somehow makes it even worse.
I don't understand the decision to keep that, because it doesn't really do anything. This is where I get into like I complained about in the last video that we did on Halloween about not understanding Michael Myers' motivations, because the movie just doesn't explain it. And in this movie, it does explain it, but the explanation doesn't make any fucking sense, so it's somehow worse. Like, I don't understand why his obsession with his sister leads to him killing all of these people, and vice versa. Like, and the movie again doesn't explain it, and it
Hey,
doesn't help.
dude, he goes quiet.
It just doesn't make any sense though.
Good.
Like,
No,
I don't
it's so
understand how I'm
funny.
supposed to connect the dots here. And again, it doesn't help that I don't care about Laurie's character in this movie. So I don't know. It just I don't understand why he doesn't want to kill her, and then all of a sudden he wants to kill her. And yeah, I don't know. And I don't know. I don't understand in Michael Myers' mind why he would think that killing all of his sister's friends is the ideal way to like come back into her life. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get it, but I feel like you're trying to give it too much for a kid who did nothing but like slaughter a squirrel and lured one of his bullies into the woods to like smack him over the head with a piece of wood. I just think you're trying to give too much context for someone who's just mentally insane, you know? Like that's how I
No,
took
but I
it.
think the problem is that this movie tries to introduce context to it, and because it doesn't make sense, I'm left asking all of these questions more than I was in the original one.
Well, frustrates me a little bit with the story because I feel like in what's given to us, there's a way to tell a story about like the healthcare system that I
Hmm.
feel like the movie tries to lock in on a little bit, but just as soon as it tries to, when Michael goes into the psych ward, which by the way, it's got to be one of the worst psych wards in the planet to allow one of its patients to
They
use a
have a
fucking metal fork. But that's neither like here or there. And also, I don't know why the nurse like mocked
turns
the
away from
kid.
him.
No, mocks the kid and then turns away with the mask on. Like, brother, do you not know where you are? Like, I'm sorry for as crazy as this kid, but all of you guys deserve to die. And
Well,
I'll
see,
say this.
this is where I struggle with what the intent with this movie is, because to me it just feels like it's being edgy to be edgy, and so therefore like all of the logical things that you as a viewer are thinking of while you're watching it just never crossed anyone's mind, because it's just like, well, I want it to look gritty and real, so therefore none of this like, real world common sense stuff matters. And because there's moments where Dr. Loomis, the version of that character in this movie, will say things, and I remember just sitting there thinking like, this dude is not good at his job, because who the fuck says that? Like his last meeting with hold on, who was
Michael.
it? Yeah, I wrote down Loomis is a horrible shrink, saying all that in his last meeting with Mikey. Like like he said, like he treats it like a breakup or something. But when he's being like, "Oh, I'm letting you go," or whatever, and I'm just like, who the fuck talks like this? Like, you guys are not friends. And he does it gets worse in the next one. In the next one, he's just a fucking asshole for no
No,
reason.
dude.
Like, and
The
at least
next
in
one,
this one, he's trying to be helpful. He's just very bad at it. But whatever. I don't know. It's just there's no common sense to any of this shit.
I'll say this. Going back to what you were saying about the stuff that's like added, not really caring. I my thing is I don't and like you talking about like it being like goofy or like edgy to be edgy. I don't inherently have much issue with that because one, I know I say this a lot, or I've been saying this a lot, but Rob Zombie is anything he touches is just going to be the edgiest fucking thing you see alive, and I inherently don't really care because I know that going into the project already, and I'm already expecting it. However,
Listen,
I don't think it always works.
yeah. I'm
I'm
not
not sitting
saying
here.
that, you know, something being edgy as a style is bad or gritty or whatever. My problem is just that this movie, it's very much style over substance, in that it's these things are being introduced as like aesthetic elements for no discernible reason, and everything else kind of just doesn't make sense because of it.
Well, okay, to kind of counterpoint you there, I'd say like, isn't that what you want? Because your argument for the original was like no substance and no style. So I
No, the
feel
first
like
one had style. I don't remember saying it didn't have any style.
I don't know. You never said it had style.
Okay, well, having watched both of these versions, I prefer the style of the
No,
original.
that's fair. But
Yeah, at least the original pioneered, like,
I
the use of Steadicam.
I just appreciate the film not being afraid of what it wants to be. And I'm not. I'm only going to say it for this one because I'm not even going to mention the second one right now. I'm only saying it for this one because like I said, I appreciate that they do try to make something different, or they try to add something to the original. It doesn't really work that well, but at the same time, I feel like I think I made this argument like 2 weeks ago or something where I
When we
at
were talking about
least
Evil Dead.
yeah, like I at least give them the credit of trying to do something different, even though it turns into a full remake. I commend them for trying to make a mixture of it in 2007 too. Like that's also where I'm trying to put my mindset because, bro, this is almost 20 years old. It's 18
That's
years,
crazy.
almost 19 to think, right? Like that's scary. So when this came out, it it's a much different mindset, especially with Rob Zombie kind of just coming in as a filmmaker. Like people are just really wanting to work with him after his first few films. Like this really gnarly independent filmmaker who's super edgy, who'll make people wince. Like I like that because it makes me think there's people that aren't afraid to just like stick up to like these fucking powerhouse standards from like the Accods,
Hmm.
Dimension Films, whoever it may be, Nightfall Productions. Um, I just appreciate Rob Zombie more so for the film. I guess I'm saying because I I like his style. I like the dirty grittiness of it. I'm not saying I prefer it over the original. I'm just saying I like it. And I think that's also a hard thing as well is it's clearly not trying to be what the original is, but I
Yeah.
inherently think a lot of people try to judge it as such. And
I
like,
mean, I
I'm not saying
understand
you're
that.
doing that. I'm just saying
No, yeah.
I feel like I've seen a lot of people do that. And I get that, but like it's hard to judge Zombie for all of the remake stuff that he didn't want, you know? And that's
Yeah.
why like I find it hard. Like, I'm not saying there's a good movie in that first 50 minutes, but
There's a
I don't
good
know.
short
I
film.
I would have liked, yeah, a good 50, like maybe 30-minute short film somewhere in there about like the origins. Like, bro, you know what they would have done if these two films were coming out today? That shit would be like a 30-minute prologue. Fucking they throw online before like the actual film comes out, right? Like,
Yeah, no it would. I don't
um,
know. I just keep I understand what you're saying. There is something to be said about the style. It's not the most egregious. Like in terms of the way it's shot, it's not the most egregious. There's a couple of times where like the shaky cam shit doesn't really work. Like I found his
yeah,
breakout to be very confusing while I was watching it, but that's just whatever. I think this movie uses it more to its advantage than the second one does, but we'll get to that. Um, I just my I'm remembering what I my problem the problem that I had with the remake of Evil Dead when we were talking about it last week is just that I get wanting to do something different, but when what you're doing different isn't, you know, much better than the original, then at that point you kind of just have to sit down and ask like, is this even worth making? And I don't feel the answer with this one. I feel the answer with this one is just a hard no, even more so than like the Evil Dead remake. And I get not wanting to judge it based on, you know, the original, but if you're remaking a movie, it's real you have to know going into it that people are going to compare it to the original. And if you're not doing enough to like stand on its own, which I don't think this one does, I will give credit to the second one that that movie has nothing to do with any of the other Halloween movies. So at least you can say that about that. But I think there's too much in this that is trying to be like the first one without being like the first one. And there's also too much of it that's trying to add useless context to stuff that happened in the first one.
yeah, that and that's totally fair.
On top of the fucking random silly shit that just happens.
I mean, dude, silly shit happening in Halloween movies. I don't know. I think also I'm inherently kind of I don't want to say I'm tired as if like they've come out recently, but I guess after if you just watch all of the Halloween films in a row, I guess you get tired of like all of those films from 2 to like Halloween Resurrection.
Mm,
Um they all just kind of blend together, at least for me, in terms of story, characters, style. They're all just kind of the same, just different names, different settings, you
mm.
know. Like that when I at least watch this, yeah, it's something more of the same where the stuff it's doing differently isn't really doing much differently or really much at all differently. I still think like what it's doing outside of that, outside of the story, is enough to make up for like all of the other blandness that I think is just like littered in all of the past films after the original.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you know, I guess I
And
should have said that too. This my opinion is coming, or my perspective is coming from someone who has never seen any of the other Halloween movies. Um, and so I'm probably looking at it more as a remake than you are. And I understand wanting it to, or like seeing it as more of a breath of fresh air compared to the other ones. I know the other ones aren't really well regarded. Might get to those eventually. Um, so yeah, I think it's important to make the distinction of like where you're coming from where I'm coming from. I think that's why I'm more hypercritical of this one than you probably are, because I don't have that, you know, background of growing up with the other ones or having even watched them at all.
Well, I'd also say is like it isn't the last time they do almost like I'm not saying the 2018 Halloween is a full on remake, but 80% of it's essentially a remake. Like I
Mm,
said, just change
it's a
characters and
requel.
yeah, like stupid ass dude. I hate that name so much, bro. Like it literally makes me want to put a gun to my head hearing that because
Do you prefer Legacy sequel?
l- l- Lego requel. I want a Lego requel, bro. That's even worse, dude. Oh my
The
god,
only
just
reason
like
I'm using that term is because we just watched the Scream
no,
movies. So
I know. Um, I it's just hard for me to view Halloween as a traditional remake when a lot of people don't view the 2018 as a traditional remake. And I would say they're on the same scope in terms of doing a lot of the same fundamental things as that original, but
mm,
just doing it differently. Whether it's like, yeah, the second half of Zombies Halloween is almost not a shot for shot remake, but it's a quick
it's a
summary of
it's a
the
beat
entire
by beat
film.
remake.
Yeah, it's a quick summary of that entire first film with
Yeah.
half of his own stuff, which, like or not, it's at least not something that is being taken from the original. While as all of the new stuff in like Halloween 2018, I feel is just
Recycled.
yeah, just recycled or taken from past stuff. Like I don't know. That's my argument towards it. Like that's why like I don't really like fight or don't understand the people like, but it's a bad remake. Like, yeah, if we're talking about remakes at the end of the day, this and 2018 are both remakes in my eyes. But like, I really don't care enough for to view it as a remake in and of itself. You know.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's just I'm one of those people that cares
you
about
got to
it.
watch those originals now, though. I
I
like
do
now. I'm
kind. I
curious.
thought about watching Halloween 2, like the original one, before watching the 2009 one. But I mean, obviously, it doesn't really matter because it doesn't have anything to do with that movie aside from
Oh,
keeping
dude,
the.
all I'll say is you thought the first one was boring. Second one's even
I
more
do need to
boring.
revisit the first one. After watching these ones, I feel like I misjudged a lot about the first one.
It's
I
an
mean, I don't
off
know how
night.
much my opinion is going to change, but I guarantee you, I'm never gonna I'm never gonna look at the original one the same again, having watched the dumpster fire that is the 2007 remake. But anyways, yeah, like I was saying, I'm definitely the kind of person that looks at a remake as a remake, and for me, it's kind of impossible to not do that. I feel like it's wrong to call a movie, for example, Halloween, and touch upon a lot of the same things that happened in the original and not treat it like a remake when that's kind of for me that kind of feels like that's what they're trying to do. I get that Rob Zombie didn't really want to go for that angle, and there are lots of remakes that do change a lot of things. Whether or not that works or doesn't is up for is that's a different discussion. But I feel like if a movie is going to be marketed as a remake and it's going to be you know I don't know that I don't know if that makes sense to
No,
you,
I get what
but
you're saying. I get what
I
you're
just
saying.
I just feel like it's impossible to remove it in my mind as like this is a remake when that's kind of clearly what it feels like it is. Um, but anyway, I digress. We should probably talk about the.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's get into one of the most politically assassinating films of all time. Like that, dude. Every single character that is in this second film, just take a sniper, and just like shoot each and every one of them. Literally, character assassination, character assassination, character assassination. Fucking left and right, bro.
This
Dude,
movie definitely feels like Rob Zombie
it's a Rob Zombie film, bro.
pulling
I
out
can tell you that much.
his dick and taking a piss all over the first movie, like the things that he did not want to do and the things that he was forced to. Like this very much feels like a response to that. I mean, again, I'll give them props for letting Rob Zombie just make his fucking movie. But that being said, the movie is not much to write home about. I think I was telling you that there's like two scenes in this movie that I consider to be good. And then the rest
Well,
of it is
that's two
just
more than I would consider. So,
the. Well, here's the thing: the only two scenes that I think are good is, and they're very brief, obviously, because we can't have too much of a good thing. The only two good scenes are the moment where Laurie is reading Loomis's book and finds out that she is um, Angel Myers. As
which makes
dumb
no
as that,
sense.
as dumb as that plot point is, I did appreciate the performance and us taking a moment with the character to really process that information. I think that's a good scene. And then the only other good scene is like what 30 minutes later when Brad Dourif's character, the sheriff,
Ah, damn, you were. I was
sees,
gonna. I was just thinking that too. I'm like that. Damn, that
yeah,
is the
where
only
he
one good
where he
scene.
sees his daughter has
Daughter,
actually died in
yeah.
this movie. Again, as dumb as saving her in the previous movie just to kill her in this one is, I did appreciate us getting a moment with the character to just recognize that that someone else had died that they cared about. Those are the moments where you'd be like, okay, these are real people. But again, they are very short lived.
Dude, short lived is like a considerate statement because this is a film that hates itself. And I don't think I've ever like said that about a movie before. This is a film that effortlessly despises everything it makes, creates, and does. The two main characters, the two main protagonists of this film, are two of the most unbearably written characters put to planet Earth between Loomis and Laurie.
Oh,
They're the
you're
dude.
counting him as a protagonist?
Yeah, dude. Well, okay, sorry. That's also another thing we need to point out.
The
There are
awkward
two.
placement
There
of Loomis in this
not
story.
only that, but there are two separate ending or two versions of this film, and I
Yeah.
only point that out because they are two wildly different endings, but not at the same time. Because we'll explain.
I mean, the only main difference is like because obviously in both
They
versions it's implied that um, Laurie is becoming the next Michael Myers. The only real difference is kind of like the sequence of events that leads to um, like her
okay.
walking out of the thing.
So
And
have you seen the clip of Rob Zombie talking about the actual meaning of that ending with her in the asylum?
I haven't seen the click of the I haven't seen a video of it, but I've read how he describes it, which is dumb, but whatever.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, there's three cuts, but the directors and the unrated are the same cut, and then you have a theatrical cut.
Mm.
There's like not much different in terms of a lot of the individual scenes throughout most of the film. Like I think a few things get scenes are a little bit longer here and there, but the main difference comes at the ending when they're in the shack. I saw the director's cut ending because I own it for some reason because I'm an asshole, I guess. Um, and so in that version, the three of them die, and then you cut to a shot of Lori in this like wait like bro I had to put like sunglasses on for the scene
It's
way
way
too
too bright.
bright, like insane asylum with the white horse of her mother or Sherry Moon Zombie and recasted baby Michael coming in. And it's like very obvious, like she's dead, but like in the theatrical version, she comes out
Wearing
with
the mask.
wearing Michael's mask.
Oh,
Bro,
okay,
they
real
both
quick,
suck. They both suck, bro. Like, but that makes me laugh so bad.
before you go any further, I did forget to mention in the first one, anytime that another character puts on the Michael Myers mask that isn't the actual actor playing Michael Myers is just so ungodly silly. Like when the young Michael is killing his sister, he puts on the
Oh,
mask and he's slowly walking towards her. She's like crawling away, bleeding out on the floor.
bro, it's so
I burst out
iconic with the
laughing.
dude. The oversized mask is so good.
It's so fucking hilarious.
But bro, he knew that was funny when he put that in, and I don't, bro. There's no way he didn't think that was funny.
but they left it in the movie for some reason.
Because it's so ridiculous, and I think that's like at least the funny thing is the movies at least I think winking to the nod of the idea of how ridiculous that Michael gets his iconic mask from the boyfriend of his sister that he just murdered. That he was wearing it while he was fucking his sister, or like
That's another
well
ungodly,
he was
like
yeah
awful scene.
right like it's so awkward. But like the thing about the sequel is the second movie is it takes that scene and just makes a movie out of it. And that's the worst part. That's why I can throw away the opening stuff in that first movie so easily is because it's really only that scene and it is inherently Rob Zombie dialogue and world building, but I get it's just in there enough for me to understand his like Michael's life before the asylum to where I don't feel like it was too much. But then the second film, it's just like Laurie's talking like the stepfather from the beginning. Dude, fucking Loomis is like talking about beating his fucking publicist. Like, dude, what? Like,
I think the line is like
I'll beat
if
that
I
shit
want
out of
your
you.
if I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you.
Yeah, it's
And
just
he
like,
just
bro,
says it in
what?
front of everyone, and
So
you're
nonchalantly too, like,
it's just I don't
but it's so different from the original. Like, he was somewhat caring in the first film,
yeah, he's a
and
lot
like,
more sympathetic in the first one. And
and
the
he
same with
wasn't like
Lori.
wanting all this fame. Like this fame, Loomis is very 182. Like, I don't know where this crave for fame came from. That
Yeah.
kind of just makes him into an omega douche for most of this film. That makes his switch at the end just so unconceivably unconvincing and terrible. Like
I mean,
his switch at
as
the end
much
is
as I
is
as much as
awful
I
though.
agree with you, this
I mean, it's
movie is
not the
so
worst thing it
bad.
does,
This
but
this movie is so bad that I had to latch onto something. And so because it got to the point where Michael kills Annie, and they Lori and her friend, I don't know her name, they find her body and whatnot or whatever. I thought that was going to be the climax of the movie, like that was where the main stuff was going to happen. Fuck me for thinking that this movie was going to do something correct.
yeah, you stupid bitch.
And so that started, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, because it cut back to, I think, um Loomis like leaving that late night show or whatever, and he's still being a dick for no reason.
Well, bro,
And I
that scene of
remembered
him leaving so funny too.
I remembered I remembered when it cut back to him, I was like, "Oh, Loomis is still in this movie." I
Yeah.
was like, "Is he not gonna be around for like the climax of this movie?" And then for the next 5 minutes, I was just sitting there like, I don't understand why Loomis is in this movie.
Well, bro, because he just gets like a random like ounce of goodwill for some reason at the end of the film, and he's like, you know what? I put everyone in this situation, which I think is ironically funny because going back to the book signing scene
I
when
hate that scene, dude.
dude, it makes no sense.
I hate how everyone in this, like, listen, I get that Loomis is an asshole in this movie, but
But he had
everyone
nothing to do with why Michael got out, bro. He
everyone acts like he is just
the
the
sole reason,
worst
the
fucking
worst
human
person on
being
this.
in the existence of the world, that he's like worse than Hitler, and he's responsible for every single bad thing that has ever happened in the entire existence of humanity, for some reason. And I didn't understand, like, I get
But
treating
bro,
him like he's a bad person because he is, but everyone doesn't treat him like a bad person because he's a bad person. They treat him like a bad person because they have this fucking ongoing delusion that he is the reason why everyone that they knew and loved died.
but the film is so good at, I think, deceiving the audience at making you think that everyone just hates him. But meanwhile, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But dude, I just keep thinking about how ridiculous fucking the whole thought of him being the sole reason that Michael not only escaped but caused like all of them to die. Meanwhile, if we go back to the first movie, he was literally begging to Sheriff Brackett
I know, right?
that Michael Myers is on the loose, and he's just like, well, you know what? It's Halloween. You know, a lot of people like to do a bunch of silly things. If anyone wants to be mad at someone, it's Sheriff Brackett. But going back to what
Well,
I was
the other
getting
thing
at,
too is that like I Loomis is the only reason that Laurie survives in that movie because not
well,
only
the
does he
film also
shoot.
assassinates that. But bro, how does he die? Does he not? Because the same thing happens in the fucking ending I watched. They just shoot him. So is he dead? Like, why is he dead or is he not? Like the second film just takes everything from the first film and just kind of smushes it because it wasn't supposed to be made.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I going back to what I was saying about the ending of the first movie. So that ending, everything with her being chased through the house up until like literally the last frame, none of that was originally shot during like principal photography. And if I'm remembering correctly, um, I think she just like does she fuck. Now I'm trying to remember what it actually is. I think like she kills him in a different way or something, or maybe it like just cuts to black in like a really pretentious way. But essentially, the ending was different, and they went back to reshoot it because there wasn't really much going on in the climax between her and between Laurie and Michael. So they added like that chase stuff in the house, and they also added her definitively shooting him in the face because our zombie specifically wanted him to die so that they wouldn't make another one of these movies,
Dude, literally.
which just it just makes the rest of this movie so much more stupid. Like, you know what, I'm not gonna I it didn't really bug me when I was first watching it because, you know, all of these movies are like that. Like, even though I've never seen them, to a certain extent, even in the first one, like Michael Myers is just like indestructible for some reason, and so that stuff didn't bug me. But it does bug me knowing that like they intentionally wanted to like kill him off, only for him to spontaneously come back in the next one.
And then they just add this really stupid and silly white horse, like, not even subplot plot line.
The
It's
weird
like,
like psychological supernatural shit doesn't make any sense.
well, it doesn't make sense by the time you get to the ending because you might have to help me with this one because I don't remember if this happens in the version you saw, the theatrical.
Mm.
But when I think it's Loomis first walks into the shed. Also, in the director's cut, there's a fucking hilarious shot of Michael fucking mollywhopping Loomis right through the shed. It's probably the funniest thing I've ever seen on this planet.
Yeah, see, that
Um,
doesn't happen in the version
yeah,
that I
no, I know
watched.
it doesn't, but that's not what I'm talking about. Do you still get the scene of Loomis screaming at Lori that like
She's not
whatever
being
she's
held down.
seeing? Yeah, okay, you still
Yeah,
see
that's
that.
still in it. That's
All right,
hilarious.
dude, it's
Stop
so
it! Stop it!
well. It makes me
Stop!
think, like, bro, do they have like a dual conscience, her and Michael? Like, what the film is so like convolutedly stupid and contradicts itself constantly with not only what it sets up in the beginning, but whatever they do in the first one, that it's almost moronically stupid and it hurts my head trying to wrap my head around any of it. And that's not even to mention Michael not wearing his mask for most of the film, and you just fully
I
see
mean,
him
he
like,
kind of does though, doesn't he? Like he's
no,
not
he
wearing
doesn't, bro.
it. I mean, because he like he's wearing it for like the first 20 minutes when we waste our time with that stupid ass dream sequence. And
That
then
doesn't count.
he's wearing it so he's not wearing it when because there's that scene where he kills those like trucker dudes or whatever.
He's not wearing it.
But he puts it on like halfway through that scene once he's like starts killing them, and then he's pretty much wearing it the rest of the movie
No,
up
bro.
until the end.
So that's where I'm confused about the different third acts because in the director's cut, he is not wearing the mask.
He's wearing it in the version that I saw. I mean,
No,
like
I know she has to
half
pick
of
it up.
the like because in the strip scene, in the strip club scene, in the second one, not the first one, um, that prostitute or whatever that he kills, once again butt ass naked, but whatever. Um, she like rips part of the mask off, but he's still wearing the mask for most of it.
Yeah, dude. I really, I gotta figure out. I gotta look up the differences in both the films because I do
I
not remember him
tried
wearing the
looking
mask
that
that
up.
much.
I tried looking it up, but I don't know, it didn't.
I don't know. I just don't think anything this movie tries to introduce is interesting, good, fun, interesting. Like it's all just really blah. And I don't like it because it's just a mean movie to be mean, and there's no other reason.
I feel so bad for Annie's character because,
She's the only one
like
with
I
her
was,
father.
huh?
Her and her father are the only two characters that have an ounce of sympathy for anything
Yeah,
in
pretty
this
much.
movie.
And well, it's just so much worse because like that fucking Annie already kind of went through all of this stuff in the last one, and like she narrowly survived essentially, only for her to just be killed in just the worst way possible in this movie. And at first I thought that the movie was going to be kind to us by not showing her death. And again, I was dumb to think that, because we do see her die, or at least not only do we see her die in Laurie's arms, but we also see in like mini flashbacks, like him chasing her around and like stabbing her and whatnot. Um, and again, I thought the movie was gonna be kind and not have her be naked, and she's not naked while he's killing her, but they find her naked,
Yeah,
and
bro. That's what
which
I'm
just was
just like,
also really confused. I don't understand what Michael's obsession in these two movies specifically is with having them be naked.
bro. Is it bad that I'm just like, dude? Is Michael just so in tune with the horror genre that my dude is just killing all of these people having sex, thinking that he can't kill them before? Like they all need to break that virginity card to be able to
Well,
be killed.
that's the
That's
other
what it feels
thing
like.
that I don't under. It's worse in this movie because, like, yeah, it was heavily implied in the first one that he was killing them because they were. I don't know if sexually deviant is the right word, but they were having premarital sex and whatnot. Like, back in the day,
Oh no!
that's what they probably would have considered it. But in this one, it's made worse by the fact that like everyone he kills is like actively having sex, and well, except for Annie, but the sexual implications are there because he strips her down. But then like Laurie is like, yeah, Laurie's foul mouthed and whatnot, but like she doesn't have sex with anyone either in these iterations. So I still don't understand what is going on in terms of like that, like contextually.
Yeah, that's kind of how I just feel about this film in general, and it's like not even fun to talk about because it doesn't even feel like this was a fun movie to make. I don't feel like anyone wanted to make this movie, and it feels like Rob Zombie, going back to what you were saying before, just kind of made this to piss on all the executives because this is the type of film that like I think of when people talk about like like Saw films or like the Terrifier movies, you
Oh,
know?
like the torture porn stuff?
Yeah, like the torture porn stuff is
Yeah.
like, yeah, I get it, but like, I don't think all those movies, like Terrifier is a franchise that's inherently known for being cruel, but
Yeah.
Saw isn't inherently
I
known
mean, when you say
for
like
that.
cruel, do you mean like gruesome?
No, yeah, like,
Because there's a
dude,
difference
no, no,
between
no,
being
no, cruel,
gruesome and
like,
being
no, no, no,
cruel.
no, no,
Like
cruel,
this
like, I'm
movie
about to
is
explain it.
fucking cruel.
No, no, in the in the Terrifier movies, I think it's the second one. Art goes into someone's bedroom, throws acid on their face while they're screaming in pain from like the acid or something. He starts pouring salt on all the burn wounds. Wow, no, no, it gets
What
better.
the fuck?
No, it gets better. While the salt is burning on the wounds, he's cutting all of their individual body pieces off while they're still alive, by the way. He hasn't stabbed them or anything.
Jeez.
And they're all screaming during this, and he's chopping them up into little bits while he's like with has a giant smile on his face and cheering while he's hacking off their limbs. You know what I mean? Like, but that film does it in a way that I like. The film isn't trying to say that like the world is cruel, fuck the world, everyone sucks.
Yeah.
You know, everyone deserves like this really gory death. It's just saying this is a person that's inherently evil rather than Halloween 2. Like, no one's trying to help anyone. People are just saying fuck each other. Literally, people don't compliment each other unless they find each other dead. Like, oh baby, I love you.
That
I'm
shit got
sorry,
on my
baby,
nerves so
I
much.
love you. I'm like, bro, what? For the last like hour, you've been saying how much she's been a bitch to you. She's a cunt, and like I thought there was a really good plot point in having them live together and having them going through the same experiences just through different ways. But it does nothing.
I
Absolutely nothing.
I will say that's one of the other main differences between, at least from what I saw and read, was that was one of the other differences between the director's cut and the theatrical one, is that their um their relationship isn't as strained in the version that I saw than the one that you saw.
Yeah, dude, they're just constantly at their throats
So
in
see,
the directed unrated cut.
that stuff is not in the version that I saw. So I feel like to a degree that helped with my watch of it, is that, well, one, it's not as long because
Well, no, dude, it's
believe
literally
me,
just Lori screaming in her face, like the loudest she can, just berating her, just for being a nice person, or just for like getting the wrong topping on a pizza or something. You know, like
yeah,
it, it's just like so mind numbing because you just hate the main character so much
yeah,
by the end of this film that like, dude, when I watched her get dropped at the end, I laughed. But if I actually felt bad for her at the end of the first one, you know,
mm,
like, and that's where I feel conflicted is everyone or anything that I did somewhat enjoy or like coming out of that first one just totally get shit on, flushed down the toilet, re-eaten, and then re-shitting through. Like, it it's regurgitated so much and I fucking hate it. I really do, and it's just more frustrating, this one, more than like any other like horror film I've seen.
yeah. This is one of my least favorite movies that we've watched, and I mean both of them are, but this one specifically is like one of the worst ones. Like, we've talked about like some not very good movies. Like the ones that spring to mind the most are like Fan Stick and like Jurassic World, like those last two movies. But like those were kind of fun to shit on,
I'm
and
like, you
like
can laugh at those, like, dude. You Halloween 2, you can't even make fun of because you actually feel bad laughing at it because everything's so horrendous.
the whole time I was watching this movie, I just couldn't help but be like, why is this still going? And I think another big problem with this movie is that for some reason, like, even though the whole idea of like not wanting to do the first one as a true remake and wanting to focus more on like the backstory of Michael Myers, he still makes the same mistake in this movie by having it have this really weird structure where like a majority of the runtime, like Michael Myers related stuff isn't really happening. Um, and so like the only stuff that like really feels like a Halloween movie is the stuff at the end, which by the time you get there, you really just want it to be over and you don't really want to see any of that stuff. But then you have to spend another like 20-30 minutes watching it and it's still not good. So he makes the same mistake again by having like the first two halves of these movies be completely different, like tonally.
Yeah, I agree. Um, any final words on the sequel? Just because I don't know, I don't find it fun to just keep bashing a film that like I don't find much of anything good with the sequel. You know what I mean? Like the first one, I think there's I'm not saying it's a great or fantastic film, but I definitely think there's a massive quality difference in. And also, I didn't mention this. The camera, the way they shot it, looks 20 times worse in the second one.
It's like super grainy for some reason. I didn't understand why.
Yeah, and I'm like, why?
And like the inherent darkness of the film didn't bother me in the first one, but it
Did
really
now?
bothers me in this one. Like you legit cannot fucking see what's going on.
No, and it's really weird because it feels like this is the film that really goes deep into like the Rob Zombie-ish stuff. Like you start having all the satanic stuff along her bedroom with 666 posters and stuff. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, dude, this is a like I'm not trying to sit here and like be like I've gone through trauma like this, but this is a wild character change from
Yeah.
nice sitting at home babysitter like town girl to just like some satanic girl working in a fucking video
Mm.
shop or a CD
It's like a
shop.
record
Yeah,
store.
record store. So like it's just so weird. I don't feel like any of these characters are the same as they were in the first film. Like and I'm not talking about like a natural character progression. Like they straight up feel like different characters and not in a good way.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like it's very obvious as soon as you start watching this that the characters are very different, and it's more obvious with Loomis in his like first scene, but even with with Lori, like it's very obvious that like as you're watching, you're just like this doesn't feel like the same character, even though it's the same director and it's the same writer and it's the same actress. It's just it's so off-putting for no reason, and then you just spend the rest of the movie just being like, why is Lori such a bitch in this movie? Like, and
Yeah,
it
you're
never explains to us why. Like, I feel like we're supposed to treat it like the trauma of what happened in the first one, but that's not really enough. Like, at least in the first one, I could tell that she cared about like her friends that were just dying en masse. But in this one, it doesn't really feel like she cares until she's supposed to. Like, when Annie's dying and whatnot. And I don't know. It felt really fake to me.
No, I agree. A lot of the second film just doesn't feel genuine from in camera and off camera.
It feels like a movie that was made solely to piss off everyone that was watching it. Like, yeah, it feels like Rob Zombie just made this movie to be a hater. That's
And
what it feels like.
it really sucks to like sit here and say that too because reading about like how he came into that first Halloween film, he was a fan of the original for such a long time. And him, like going back to what you're saying about him and Carpenter started out as like talking buddies and like talking about the movie and like you were saying like making the film your own and then turned into a nasty kind of relationship and then I think that just kind of transpired into the franchise and I think that's inherently my problem with the second one is it feels like more of a vendetta film than an actual just like movie like
Yeah.
going back to what you were saying. But without that said, do you want to get to our rankings or
Yeah.
ratings? Not
Yeah.
rankings.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Like
there's no way to rank
I'm
these
like
movies.
whenever we do like the rest of the Halloween films, we're gonna
Oh
we're
yeah.
gonna do. Honestly, bro, we might have to make like a whole video dedicated to it. That's how many there are. Um, but what did you give Halloween?
I gave Halloween a 1.5 stars, and I guess I'll just repeat what my review was. You never truly appreciate something until someone else ruins it. Thank you, Rob Zombie, for that.
Amen, hallelujah.
What'd you give it?
I give it. Oh, dude, you're gonna laugh at me.
I did see what you gave it, but just go ahead and say
Yeah,
it.
I give it 3 stars. It's a guilty pleasure movie for me. I'll fully admit that. Um, I don't know. I like the big broody Michael Myers. I think it's a different type of scary Michael Myers that none of the others do. That I appreciate for it because I do like to watch these films for the killers a lot too. So if you get the killer right, which I think the film did, it's an instant check mark for me.
Mm,
Um, However, I didn't write a review for it just because like I just thought it was solid. I didn't have too much to say. I gave Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 0 stars, And my review is Rob really went fuck the studio with this one. What'd you
Yeah.
give it?
I gave it half a star.
Dude, that's way too
um,
nice. That's way too nice.
and my review was just what a massive slap in the face.
What a massive slap in the cock, bro.
Yeah, really. The entire time I was watching this, I just felt like I was being held against my will. And to be fair, the only reason I finished watching these, like the only reason I finished watching the first one was because we were doing it for the podcast. If we were not doing this for the podcast, I
I
would
still would
have
have forced you.
immediately turned off the movie at like maybe the 30-minute mark.
No, I would have forced you to watch the whole thing.
I wouldn't have watched it, but
No,
it
you would
really
have.
just feels like I'm being forced, like some sort of entity, with some film ghost is being like, you have to watch this movie and suffer, and I just don't understand why.
God, bro. What a fucking dampener on that pity party. Fuck. But Leo, any wrap up thoughts?
Hold on.
Let me
Let me
let me just
consult my
pull
notes.
let
Is
me
there
just
anything
pull
that
up
I
my
forgot? Oh,
essay.
I didn't like the weird like quotes at the beginning of these movies.
Hey, dude, it's cool though.
I also really don't like the like free Adobe font that they used for all of the text.
That's good. That's good.
Let's see, what else did I write in here? Oh, I thought so when in the first movie when I think there's a shot where Annie's crawling away and she's like topless or whatever, and Michael Myers is like coming up behind her to like grab her or something. I think he grabs her leg, but I legit for a second I thought he slapped her ass. Like just the way that it was framed and like how quick the cut was. I legit and like the sound effect didn't like of him grabbing her too. It sounded like he like slapped her on the ass, and I
Honestly,
just thought that
I
was really
wouldn't.
weird.
I wouldn't like not like I wouldn't be shocked if that happened. Just like one of those Michael Myers memes where they just break out into dance and just like slap someone's ass. I don't know why that just came to my head.
I also think it is important to note that like in the climax of the first one, the 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 way that everything is like the sequence of events doesn't really make sense either because um the police show up to the other kid's house,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though they
Like,
called from Annie's house or whatever. And then
hey, bro, the
also
police
when
are a
when
little
when when
slow.
when Brad Dourif's sheriff and Loomis arrive along with the ambulance, they conveniently drive past without recognizing that there's another cop car outside of that house, which I just thought was really. And then it also is weird that no other police show up for like what feels like 30 minutes before the
Bro,
Brad
they had to
Dourif
be
and Loomis.
they had to wait for the third act to unfold.
Yeah, they had to wait for fucking, that entire fucking chase scene.
They had to wait for Mikey B to show up and fuck shit up for a little bit.
But anyways, so yeah, those are my last thoughts on the these movies are just dumb. I'm sorry.
Dude, we definitely have to watch the other ones now if you think these are dumb. All
I
right.
but I feel like the other ones are dumb in like so bad it's good way. These ones are
Mm,
just awful
no,
to
not
watch.
not the one with Paul Rudd. It's just the one with Paul Rudd is not only
That
just
one
bad, but it's got like six different versions.
was yeah, that's what I was just gonna say, like that one would be interesting. That one we would have to dedicate like an entire video to just the
Talk
different
about that.
versions.
Yeah, dude.
Because I know there's
I don't want
the
to get into
theatrical
it.
version and then like the producer's cut, and I've heard conflicting things on which one is better. Isn't that one what Halloween 6?
So I haven't watched it uh like in a while. I'm pretty sure the one that I watched, Loomis died at the end. However, yeah, dude, we gotta talk about that fucking film. Like, it's just a colossal disaster, that one, which is not like an
In a different way
I
from the way that this one was.
yeah, this one like that one was straight up just like all studio. I'm pretty sure, just like
Well, because I know that like the producer's cut version was the one that was intended to be released, but it got like bad test screenings, and so the studio recut it without the director's permission to make it more of like a 90s slasher movie. Um, but that's my understanding of the differences between the films.
All
Anyways,
right, Leo, what are we watching next week?
all right. Still kind of a Halloweenish, but not really. So Predator Badlands is coming out sometime in the next couple of weeks. So Ryan and I will be taking a trip back to the first three Predator films. Obviously, the original with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's the only one that I've seen of like. Well, no, that's not true. I've never seen the second one. Let's just put it at that. We're gonna watch Predator 2, and then we're gonna watch Predators, which came out in like the 2010s. It's not a remake.
2010 came out in 2010.
Oh, it literally came out in 2010. That's
Yeah,
funny.
that's what I'm saying, bro. Spoiler alert. Fucking great movie.
So Predators is the first one that I ever saw,
That's crazy,
and I
bro.
remember liking it when I first saw it. I don't think that one's a bad movie, but it's interesting. Oh, I forgot Danny Trejo was also in that one.
Bro, there's mad bro, fucking Topher Grace is in it as like the bad guy in the group too. Like
Yeah, he's like a
so
serial
good.
killer or
Yeah,
something.
he's like a serial killer that there's like, wait, bro, you're what?
I haven't watched these movies in a while, so I'm kind of excited to go back to them.
I remember the second one being really good too. Or like I
That's the only one I've
remember
never
having a good
seen.
time. I remember having a good time with it.
Yeah. One day we'll have to come back and revisit the Predator franchise with
Maybe we'll do it for
the
next
really bad
Halloween.
the really bad movies in that franchise with like Alien versus Predator, um the Predator that came out in like 2018.
Dude, I
Awful
am not
movie.
talking about that dog shit. No, I'm sorry. But maybe we'll do that for like next Halloween or something.
Yeah, indeed. Anyways, sorry, this is a long outro.
No, yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Stay tuned and let us know what you guys thought down below. And with that out, peace!